Hello and welcome back to episode 22 of Unknown to World Known Club 9 and episode 169 of the series, the final episode of the series. So as you can see, the season with Arsenal is over. The reason for that is since you were last with us, we've just drawn every game. We've scored 1 goal in 5 games. So going into the Sheffield United game, there was nothing to play for and I was just very grumpy, so I just played it. We finished second in the league, 78 points. We ended up 10 points behind City, which is outrageous considering we beat them. No, we drew them and then they slipped up. We were 3 points behind them in the Burnley game. We didn't win a game in the last 7 matches of the season. So we've ended Unknown to World Known trophyless in our final season. However, I've not got a drive to carry on and try and win something. This season's just took it out of me. I'm going to put my focus on to take to the skies. That's going to continue Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and on those 3 days, I'm going to do my best to get as much F1 2021 content out as much as possible. Hopefully, starting Thursday, I'm hoping to have a video recorded and released then. So do check that out. And hopefully we'll be getting some live streams back with F1 Cult Career Mode with me and Ashman. You should go check his channel out as well. He's got a really good series with Cadbury's going. I'll leave a link down below for him. But today we're just here to do a bit of a summary of the career. So of course, we started off back in 2021 at S. Kilsman. And we took over at the end of the right at the end of the season. They got sacked in our first year. So that was in 2020. We got sacked, but they were kind of already in that position. There wasn't much we could do to actually recover it. So we got relegated down to the Division 2 Sodra, and they sacked us despite finishing second. And we were 8 points off the top, and we lost out in the playoffs. So I always thought that was quite harsh. Where did we go out back then? It was in the group. We lost out in the group because we drew both our games. So we left Eskilsman and off we went to Asker in Norway. And this was a bit more of a successful run for us because we took over in December 2021. It was the end of their season. We stayed until 2024, so just over 2 years, because we left on New Year's Day. However, the seasons were much better. In our first year, was that our first? Let me work this out. Our first year, we topped the group, topped the league, got promoted, went into the second division in Norway, and we finished 8th in our first year. A very decent first season. We established them in the league, and that was when we then left. I kind of would have liked to have stayed there a bit longer and seen how far we could take them. But as you can see, since we left, they had a long run in that division. Very mixed results. 4th, then 8th. Then they dropped down a bit. Did get relegated. Nearly got promoted straight back. And then won the playoffs here. Got relegated again. But they got back into the division. They seem to be in relegation battles, but they're surviving, which is very nice to see. kills me, and I don't really want to see them having success. But of course, that was also our first trophy, because if we go back far enough, that was the first time we won anything. And we also got Manager of the Month as well on a personal level. We also managed Liechtenstein for a couple of years, but never really expected anything to come of that. And off we went to Lincoln City. And as mentioned, joined them on New Year's Day. We stayed for 2 years and 4 days. So we finished the season, had one full season and then a half season. And so we joined in 23-24, and we led them to an 8th place finish. We joined them, they were quite low in the league, and we really drove them up the league. Ended up finishing 8th. The following season we finished 6th and lost out in the playoffs. If I remember, was it the playoff final? I think. But then the following year we did leave, but we left them top of the league. They went on to get promotion, so we left them in that position. They had 3 years in League One, but then got relegated, and they've struggled a lot. They ended up relegated to the National League. What's that? Less than 10 years after I got them promoted to League One. Well, essentially got them promoted to League One. And they've had a tough time down in the National League. They lost in the playoffs at least 4 of the years. But they have actually bounced back this year. They've picked up 91 points and been promoted back into League Two. So hopefully Lincoln can pick up from there. But of course we left Lincoln because QPR offered us a job. And that was up in the Championship. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me. So we took over there in 2026. We stayed probably the longest we've been in a role at that stage, nearly 3 years. So we had, again, a year, half a year, and then 2 full seasons before we left. So we joined in the 25-26 season and guided them again away from a relegation battle. Finished 9th, and then we had the season where we finished in the playoffs. We got to the playoff final and lost out. But then into the Premier League we went with a fantastic season, 108 points, also 108 goals, which I've never noticed, only losing 8 games across the season. However, we left partway through that season. I think I could have kept them up, but unfortunately it didn't happen for them. They finished 19th. We had a really good team there as well. If we go back to those seasons, this first year that we joined, it was okay, but we got Dane Scarlett scoring when he wasn't before we joined. And then a year later, we brought in a Calde as well. Scarlett's still scoring even more now. Shoretire came in. Chair was doing well. And our back four was a little bit shaky at times. But then the year of the promotion, Scarlett with 41 goals. And then you had Chair with 11. Alcalde did really well. Shoretire had he's only played half the games, but Masengo was fantastic for us. We had Reece Williams at the back. Shea Charles, who I really like. Geraldo, who's now retired, but we had him on loan from Tottenham for a number of years. Maximilian Effenberger, of course. I bought him in from Gladbach, and he had a year out on loan and then became our primary goalkeeper, and he did really well there as well before they actually sold him on. But there was our second trophy. We picked up the Sky Bet Championship. In some ways I kind of count the League Two. I think I left them in the position to win that. But of course, we were 15th at the time when I left, but I didn't have much choice in leaving because you get offered a job like Roma, you've got to take that. So that's what we did. And this was our first job that we walked into, and it was a big team. And we took over in 2028 until 2030, so half a year and then one full season, which I felt like I was there longer than that. I was quite shocked to see how little I was back at Roma. But we took over in this 28-29 season. Again, they were struggling. We guided them up the table, got an 8th place finish. We only just missed out on European football. 1 year later, we finished second. Fantastic season, losing out to Juventus only. And if we go back to that 1 year earlier, we weren't far off Juventus. We had a really good season. There was just a few too many draws in there, really. And when you look back at it, you know, Monza, Vicenza. Monza finished bottom of the league. We drew with them. We win that, and Vicenza, who finished 15th, will bad maths. But you get the point. We weren't far away from Juventus. And I think we could have toppled Juventus because we had a good team there. If we go back and look at our best 11 as well. That first year we were there, Victoriano was the star, and we were really missing a striker. Our defence we had Ibanez, but Varnier wasn't a great partner for him, and it was an ageing squad as well. And then 1 year on, you can see how much that changes. Giglione came in, Fran came in, Varinha came in. We were missing a goalkeeper that first year. Cersei, Pospech. I think Maynard was already there. Rodrigo I bought in, Victoriano, Wilson, all my signings. And Wilson, fantastic goal scorer. I think up until Arsenal, really, I've always managed to get the best out of my strikers. At Lincoln, we didn't have a particularly... No, Leighton Stewart was scoring a lot of goals there, actually. But Wilson was just another guy who, we bought in. And before he came to us, he wasn't very prolific at Leipzig. That season I was in charge, 29 goals. So, not being cocky, but clearly I was the reason for his success. And 1 more year, I think I could have won the league with them. However, when Barcelona come in for you, you've kind of got to take that job. And we were only there for a year at Barcelona because obviously the main aim of the save was to win the Champions League in the top 4 leagues. Well, we did both of those at Barcelona. In our first year, we smashed it. Champions League, La Liga, Copa del Rey, the Super Cup. There was nothing left for us to do there, so we left. But the season we had, 98 points, and we set them up for a long reign of dominance that's still going now. And if we go back and look at that season, 2031, we were 15 points ahead of Real Madrid. We only lost 2 games all season, and if memory serves me correctly, the Atletico one was more of a genuine loss. The Tenerife one was more, I rotated because... No, we lost to Tenerife in the January, and it really annoyed me. And then I wasn't too bothered about Atletico because it wasn't costing us the perfect a unbeaten season. But 121 goals equaling the Spanish record. And if we look at the team from that year, this was easily the best team we've had in the series. Claudimer in goal was ridiculously good. I bought him in to replace ter Stegen. De Vrij at right back. Pardini was on another level as a centre back. Was he my signing? I think he was. No, he wasn't. Never mind. But he was unbelievable. I did feel like we needed a better partner for him. But then Shahov. I'll be honest, I don't remember Shahov at all, which is a little bit embarrassing. But then Nico was this great goal scoring midfielder, 12 goals from him. Julio, the holding midfielder alongside him, along with Kone. Then Gerard on the right, 17 goals from him. Havertz through the middle. He was he was like 34, 35 at the time, but he was just still playing week in, week out. He was so key to that team. And I knew I had to replace him after that season if we hadn't won the league. But we never had to. Damsgaard on the left, 18 goals. And then Fabio Silva, 48 goals in 45 games. He was unstoppable. I would have loved to have seen Arteta develop. He actually went to Tottenham, £63 million. After I left, he really didn't get much game time, which is very harsh on him because he was a great prospect. Kone again was another guy who at the time we developed into a first team player before he left to Man City for 38 million. Emric, the left back, came in again. Well, no, actually, we bought him through to the first team as a backup to apparently Shavlov. But that was an unbelievable Barcelona team. And you can even still go back, look at the season we had. It's ridiculous, the season we had there. Yeah, 7-2 against Vigo, 6-0 against Espanyol. I was worried when we drew with Real Madrid, and it turned out there was nothing to be worried about because we were thrashing teams for fun out there. Atletico 5-0 in the semi-final of the Super Cup, and then 5-0 against Real Madrid. Then we lost to Atletico, but still bounced back in the Copa del Rey. We thrashed, got past Inter. That was an edgy game, but yeah, then we beat Real Madrid in the Copa del Rey final. Played them in the Champions League semi-final. Smashed them 4-0 in the first leg. It was already over. And then, of course, our big crowning moment, we beat Chelsea after extra time. That was one of the tougher games that we had. But we came out on top. We won a Champions League. That was the target of the save. And that was it achieved. So at that point, easily our best team of the save. But we'd achieved everything we needed to achieve in Spain. So off we went. And after Barcelona came a very challenging time of the save. We were managing England at the time as well. We did pick up a Nations League twice. And then we never managed to pull anything off in the World Cup or the Euros. That's a concerning sound. But yeah, in the World Cup, I think that was the year that we took over after that World Cup. We then lost in the quarterfinal on penalties. And then in the Euros, again, lost in the quarterfinal on penalties to France. We didn't get on with them at all. But we headed to Bayern Munich. And we had a very tough first year there, where we finished third in the Bundesliga on 67 points. And this was when Hertha Berlin were kind of going through a reign of dominance. And the following year we were 4 points off them, and that was devastatingly close. Especially when you look at a draw with Eintracht Frankfurt and a draw with Köln. Köln, who, to be fair, were doing well, but we shouldn't be drawing those games. A loss to Augsburg. And, of course, the loss to Hertha Berlin. And essentially it was the games between us and Hertha that decided it, because there was a draw and a loss for us. So we were getting there, and we had that one extra year, and then that year Hertha Berlin just randomly dropped off completely off the face of the earth, and we dominated the league, 83 points to their 68. But of course, what we didn't get was the Champions League, and I wanted the Champions League, so we did one more year. We won the league again. Hertha Berlin dropped even more off the face of the earth. However, in the Champions League, we just never really got going. We lost to in the quarterfinal, then the first knockout round, then we lost in the final to Inter Milan. And were we there for the 34-35 season? We were, yeah. And we lost again to Inter Milan. So we never managed to win a Champions League at Bayern Munich, but revenge was there to be had on Inter Milan by going and joining AC Milan. And at Inter Milan, we took over in the summer of 2035. We stayed for near enough 2 years because, again, the aim of the save, win the top 4 leagues. We'd done that in Germany. We came back to Italy, not with Roma, unfortunately, because they just dropped off a little bit at this point, but didn't sack their manager. So back to AC Milan, to AC Milan, we returned to Italy. And in our first year, we finished second, 85 points. I'm imagining this was probably to Inter. It was, yeah. And I seem to remember it being pretty close. 5 points, and once again, the Andrew way. The draws cost us. You can see there a draw with Torino, relegated. Virtus Entella, relegated. Those two alone are stopping us being level on points. Then you've got Atalanta, who finished 17th. This is why we didn't go to Roma. Their manager got sacked that season, but I couldn't justify that drop as much as it would have been nice to return there. But that season from Inter Milan, 96 goals, 23 conceded, was quite ridiculous. However, the year later, we overcame that with 93 points, champions of Italy. And as you can see, it's where the draws had disappeared. There's 4 less draws that year, which, yes, doesn't sound a lot, but it made a huge difference for us. They finished on 87 points, so they still would have beat us the year before because of all those draws. But this season, we were a very strong AC Milan team. And if we go back and look at the team from this period, I know we didn't do that for the Bayern Munich, but I forgot. And it's not too important to remember the stars of there. We tried the 5-2-1-2 at Bayern Munich. When we came to AC Milan, they didn't really have the squad for that. So we went back to a 4-5-1. Of course, they had an aging Kylian Mbappe, who got 11 goals in his first year. Toure, 22 goals. Again, got strikers scoring. Delogu, we bought through on the left wing, and he was a phenomenal player for Jose Antonio was the other one. But then we had Safadori at right back, who was phenomenal. Conju and Marcon, I think it was Marcon. I wasn't as keen on Conju. He was fantastic. Donnarumma was still there. João Felix was still there. So it was an aging squad again. Kellers was phenomenal for us, as was George. 1 year later, you can see we swapped to the 4-2-3-1. Henrique kind of took over on the right hand side from Mbappe for that season. In fact, that might have been, I think Mbappe retired that year without winning the league, and then we won it a year later. You can see we stuck with Conju and Marcon, but outside of those two, we had really poor set of centre backs. We had Tamara Dell. He was a really good player for us there, coming off the bench a number of times. Then you had Hansen Aaron, who was surprisingly good in that number 10 role. He didn't have it all the time. It was quite a bit of rotation. Delogu came into his own that season. He was phenomenal. Toure again. had a good scoring season. Not quite the levels that we saw from Fabio Silva, but I don't think you can expect that from every striker. But again, a very good team. I don't think it's quite to the level of the Barcelona team, but we had a very good team here. I don't recall our Champions League runs. We lost in the first knockout round. So, Champions League runs weren't great. But it is what it is. We had to do what we had, do what we could. In some ways, that might have helped us in the league because we didn't have the Champions League distracting us. And they did win the league the following year as well, but then have dropped off just slightly. Not quite in, although 89 points and not winning the league is quite unfortunate. And then following that, we headed off to our final destination, the Premier League. Returning for the first time when we leave, literally 20 years later, we return to the Premier League with Arsenal. And unfortunately, we've kind of just been the nearly men at Arsenal. In our first year, we finished 4th, which was good. We were predicted to finish like 6th or 7th. We got Champions League football the following year, 82 points. It was an improvement, but not quite good enough. And then again, this year, we were doing well. We were in a title battle. But oh dear, did we fall apart in those last 5 games. We just couldn't find the net. We lost. We'd scored 1 goal in 5 games. It just wasn't good enough. And as I say, I don't want to continue. I think this series has run its course, in my opinion. So we have called time without winning the Premier League title, which just means next year, in November when the new game comes out, we've got our target. We've got to properly complete the save. We had a rather established team, and I think this was kind of the problem. Boysen and Morris were very inconsistent, both fantastic wingers, but both left winger. And we had Glam and Molinas on the right, but they weren't the same level. It would have been nice to have had Morris as a right winger, and perhaps that would have helped us out if I'd done that training. But you still had aging players here like Yilmaz and Manacho and Velez. Fran, who obviously of our time at Roma was getting on. We were struggling for a left back because Jadil was probably the best left back, but we wanted him in holding midfield. 1 year later, we brought in Gaffner to play in that holding midfield so Jadil could go at left back. Never really looked quite good enough. Boisman in midfield looked very good though. And we gave Morris a chance up front while Trubovic just didn't get going. So that was a bit of a mistake. We bought in Trubovic, did we? No, he was already here, but we were the ones that really gave him a lot of game time. We couldn't get the best out of him at all. And then our final year, we brought in Luciano Lambermont, who was with us back at Bayern Munich, where we had him scoring goals. And he did come in to Arsenal and score goals as well. 24 goals in his season. But not quite enough to drive us on to the league. Strike partner Jimmy O'Brien, rotation partner Jimmy O'Brien only getting 14 goals, I think is part of the reason we weren't able to win the league. Boysen only getting 9. Morris only getting 4. You can see where our problem was. It was not scoring enough. Although, Erling, I think it was last season, 8 goals from centre-back. He is a danger from corners. And he, for me, is my best player at Arsenal. Best player of the save, Fabio Silva, absolutely. But overall, I think the problem is normally I I wanted to say I'd like do a best 11, but I think most of it is just going to be that Barcelona team, because that Barcelona team was just, they were on another level. They really were. By far the best team we had in the series, and hopefully next year we can get a team like that again. But hopefully we can have a bit more to do with building it. But that's everything to go through on the series. So a final review of our managerial career. 9 jobs throughout the career. 2 national teams. We bought 159 players for a total of £1.92 billion. Sold 173 players for a total of £1.04 billion. The highest we ever spent was on Miguel Ocampo for £134 million back at Bayern Munich, and I have to say, I never thought he really looked worth that. So, admittedly, I think I got that one wrong. Highest fee ever received was for Conchial while we were at Barcelona for £70 million. Total career earnings, £62 million. 7,966 days game time. You see the days spent on holiday, that was while we were waiting for job offers and things like that at the start of the game in particular. 24 awards. Longest time at a club was 1,416 days. That would probably be the Bayern Munich job. Shortest time at a club, 370. Probably S. Kilsman because we got sacked. Highest nationality ranking, we ranked 3rd for English managers. Overall, we've played 1,002 games, won 613, which gives us a win percentage of 61%. Drawn 193, lost 196. Scored a total of 1,969 goals, conceded 939. So a massive goal difference, 1,030. We won 7 cups, 6 leagues, got promoted twice, got relegated once, which I don't really count because there was nothing I could do when I took over there. And is there a way for us to look at just wins? There's not. Here we are. So, we won the Post Nordligaen Avdeling 2. And then at QPR, we won the championship. At Barcelona, we won the La Liga, Santander, Champions League, Copa del Rey, and the Super Cup. In charge of England, we won the Nations League twice. At Bayern Munich, we won the Bundesliga twice and the DFB Pokal twice. So we did win a double-double, just missing that Champions League, unfortunately. And at AC Milan, we won the Serie A. And at Arsenal, we unfortunately end the series trophyless. Overall, I think there's just that little bit missing from this series, and it is the fact that we haven't quite managed to do what we set out to do. But that just means that in November we'll be back. We'll do it one better next time. It's the end of the career, and we will be back tomorrow with St. Albans, Take to the Skies. If you're not already on that series, get on there. It's a really fun series. We've had support from St. Albans themselves and some retweets from Enter Shikari as well. Thank you anyone that's liked or retweeted that series. Subscribe if you're enjoying the series. Let me know if you want to see Unknown to World Known again next year. And we'll be back with St. Albans tomorrow and F1 2021 on Thursday. Thank you very much for watching.